Border enforcement before the other parts of the package?
Not before, but certainly there has to be the assurance that all necessary measures are being taken in order to secure our border. Americans deserve that. Americans deserve border security, and we can't ignore that aspect of it, and our borders are broken. I think we all know that.
Another beef that conservatives have with you, I don't have to tell you, is McCain-Feingold campaign finance reform. They say it's an assault on free speech, especially by conservative advocates. When you see candidates spending more money, or raising more money than ever, spending more money than ever, when you see soft money that's now banned from going to the parties, instead going to these so-called 527s, which are even less accountable than the parties were, can you honestly say that McCain-Feingold is working?
We've strengthened the parties. There's millions more small donors. We have taken soft money, which was rampant in Washington, out of the game. The 527s are a violation of the 74 law. The 527s are clearly illegal. It's not a problem with law. It's a problem with the Federal Elections Commission, who will not enforce the law. So yeah, have we made significant progress? Absolutely. And I'm proud of a lot of the results of this. I lived in the environment where a powerful committee chairman would call up a trial lawyer, a union leader, or a corporate head and say, I need a check for 7 figures from you, and by the way, your bill is up before my committee next week. That was routine operation in Washington, and we're still seeing manifestations of
That's what I was going to say.
Corruption.
It sort of feels like in some form, maybe it's not directly, but it's still happening.
Oh yeah, we're certainly seeing it, and it's terrible. And it's really awful. I mean, we have members of Congress in jail, and we have others who are under investigation.
Conservatives, in some respects, I sometimes was thinking as I was preparing for this, you can't win. They not only say that you're not sufficiently conservative, but they also hit you when you stray from the farm. They say that if you come back, that you're flip-flopping.
Look,
can I just ask you a question about that?
First of all, I don't know who you're talking to start with.
I'll give you a name.
Okay. But I mean, wait a minute. I'm sure that there are people who live inside the Beltway who really resent. For example, I have town hall meetings all the time. Outside of Washington, I never have anybody stand up and talk about McCain-Feingold. There's nobody who ever does. They want health insurance. They want Social Security reformed. They want their taxes cut. They want the budget balanced. Those are the issues that average citizens and average Republicans are interested in. And the fact is that I'm pleased with the support that I have all over the country from rank-and-file Republicans who are supporting me, who believe in me, who believe the security of this nation is one of our highest priorities, and think I'm best equipped to handle it. And I'm proud of that. Now, you can give me names of Republicans who either disagree with me or want to criticize me, and that's fine. But I'm proud of the base of strength and support that I've had for many, many years, especially from the veterans and the men and women who are serving in the military. I'm very proud of it.
Governor Romney, Mitt Romney, outside the Beltway, but obviously an opponent of yours, says that you said it today. You flipped on taxes, you flipped on ethanol, you flipped on Roe versus Wade. First of all, how do you feel about being called a flip-flopper by Mitt Romney?
Well, look, I'm not going to respond to that. I'm simply not going to respond to it. I'm not into that now, and I won't respond to it. My record is very clear. It's very consistent. It's very conservative. If you look at the National Taxpayers Union, Citizens Against Government Waste, and other organizations that grade these things, I'm very proud of my record.
You were one of 2 Republicans to vote against the Bush tax cuts in 2001, one of 3 Republicans to vote against the Bush tax cuts 2 years later. At that time, you said that they were fiscally reckless and that they favored the rich. Now you say you would not allow the tax cuts to expire. Is that a flip-flop?
Because it would have the effect of a tax increase, and I don't support tax increases. The fact is that in 2000, I had a proposal that restrained spending. I voted against those tax cuts because there was no restraint of spending, and spending lurched out of control completely. If we had adopted my proposals for tax cuts, which were huge, we would be talking about further tax cuts today, not out of control and rampant spending in Washington.
So President McCain, no new taxes.
Of course not. I've never supported tax increases. I don't support them now.
And that's a pledge that you would make over your 4 years?
I don't take pledges. The fact is my record is very clear of opposition to tax increases. I oppose tax increases. I don't take pledges.
By the way, we checked our research on what Senator McCain said back in 2005 about raising the income cap on Social Security taxes. He was asked, could you support that as part of a compromise? His answer, as part of a compromise, I could. Up next, we'll continue our interview with the senator and be joined by his wife, Cindy. We'll discuss his age and the media and whether McCain feels he has one last mission to serve his country. Back in a moment. And we're back now with Senator John McCain, and I'm delighted to say we're also joined by his wife, Cindy McCain. Mrs. McCain, welcome also to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
Mrs. McCain, when it comes to social issues like abortion, like gay rights, like gun control, I don't think there's any question that your husband has a longer, more consistent record than any of the other front runners in the race, certainly more than Rudy Giuliani or Mitt Romney. And yet, it seems that there are some conservatives out there who are willing to cut them some slack that they're not willing to cut your husband. How do you explain that?
It's politics. My husband has a very consistent record on all of these. He's been consistent for the entire time he's been in Congress, dating back to 1982. I just think it's just a matter of trying to stage up what their own issues and their own ideals are about what they're doing. My husband's very consistent. He's very straight talking. He's been very forward with everything, and what where he stands on everything. So I just think it's politics.
Do you ever feel that there are some old grudges there, that there's nothing that either of you can say to heal?
I have no idea. I mean, it's certainly not on our part. I can't imagine anyone else would have grudges.
Oh, they have them in politics. Senator McCain, you've always been comfortable running as a maverick. How did you pull off the trick of going from front runner to underdog in 3 months?
I don't know. It wasn't easy, I'm sure. I will leave that to many others, too. But I'm very happy with where we are. We have very strong political strength and a political apparatus in the early states. We're leading here in South Carolina. I'm very happy and comfortable where we are.
Mrs. McCain, I sometimes get the sense that your husband is not always comfortable being the establishment candidate. Is he happier? Is he more comfortable running as an underdog?
You know, John just runs. When he runs as who he is and where he's at. He doesn't look, I've never ever seen him pursue himself as anything other than what he is. He doesn't look at himself as a maverick, doesn't look at himself as a front runner. He's just running to let everyone know what he stands for and that he would be a good president.
Let me ask you, Senator, though, about the fundraising, and not to say that it's that important, but it's a metric. It's something
very important.
It's something that we can measure. Sure. You said after the numbers came out that you didn't focus on it, and yet when we looked at your records, you had spent more on fundraising consultants, for instance, than Mitt Romney, who had raised $8 million more. So explain what seems...
I basically said I didn't do a very good job at it. That's all. That was my primary reason. I didn't do a very good job. I'm going to do better, and we're working hard at it.
But I guess what I'm asking is, if you spent all that money on the consultants, why then...
It's obviously a mistake. Obviously we did it wrong.
Bad consultants?
No, I mean, it's all my fault, my responsibility. We're going to do better, working hard at it. We're setting up a lot of efforts to raise money, and I think we'll do better in the next quarter.
For all the slippage in the polls and for these disappointing numbers in fundraising, when I talk to your top campaign officials, they seem almost serene, that when people get to know your top competitors, Rudy Giuliani and Mitt Romney, that you're going to be just fine. How would you compare yourself? I mean, it is a comparison. How would you compare yourself as a conservative, your credentials, to Giuliani and Romney?